guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled I Argue with a Karen Even Though I Don't Work There. I joined this sub specifically to share this story. I used to work at a fast food restaurant, but now I'm an intern for a real position in my field. I dress business casual every workday. Whenever I get hungry on my way home, I stop by my old restaurant since they still give me the employee discount. They always tell me to make my own food, which I'm fine with. As you can imagine, anyone who sees a well-dressed man working in a restaurant assumes he's the manager. I really wanted to have fun with a rude customer pretending to be the manager, but no such thing happened until one day, in walks the Karen of my dreams. Thanks to Reddit, everybody knows what Karens look like, and they've learned to disguise themselves. Great job, guys. She walked in looking normal. Everything was fine until on her way out she asked for a bag of chips. Chips are normally free as sides, but she had ordered a salad, which was already a side. I told her this, and she proceeded to ignore me and ask an employee for chips. I knew exactly what would happen. My ex-coworker would have keeled over and given her the chips to avoid getting in a hairy situation. Since I had nothing to lose, I was free to do as I pleased. I told her to hand the chips over to me and repeated the policy. This lady starts gaslighting me into thinking they're free because she thinks it's outrageous to pay $1 for chips. In the end, she didn't get chips, and it's not like I could lose my job. It's been a few months now, and I haven't gotten so much as a text from the real manager, so I think I'm in the clear. All I really did was follow policy. The next story is titled How an Abusive Karen Got a Dose of Karma. Many years ago, as I was exploring Walmart looking for good deals on unnecessary necessities, I was confronted by a sweet, nice, gorgeous woman of about 30-ish. Before she approached, I was looking at the tool, car section, looking for a better impact, and some nice floor mats for my truck. As she approached with a cheery yoo-hoo, I need some help, I immediately realized I made a mistake in my wardrobe today. You see, I like to wear vests, and today I was wearing my blue one. Mind you, it was a light blue akin to the blue worn by Walmart employees, but it had sparkly swirls all over it, and tassels. Well, I decided to be nice and help the lady out. It wouldn't hurt to help out, or so I thought. So I said, how can I help? And she said she needed a video game out of the cabinet and could I please get it for her? I then gave a little chuckle and tried to explain I thought she needed help with something heavy or up high or locating something. I don't actually work here and I don't have keys to those cabinets. During my whole explanation, the sweetness in her face slowly got replaced with anger. She then screamed about I am wearing the blue vest and how I do work here and how dare I lie to her face and she is gonna get me fired. The whole time I was trying to calm her down and explain I don't work here, it was just a fancy vest and yeah. She ended up getting fed up with me telling horrible lies to an innocent woman just trying to get a present for her son, and she, very slowly, raised her open hand and pulled it all the way back. As she started to bring the slap to my face, 3 thoughts crossed my mind. First, I am about to knock this birch tree's teeth in. Second, I don't remember seeing any cameras in this aisle and most people would take the pretty woman's word over the large odd-dressed man's. Third, fake it, go with the slap. Well, I went with the slap, but a little too much, and my head smashed into a shelf. As I looked up from the floor, through the blood flowing over my face, I heard oh my god, and I saw another woman, who had heard the screams and came over to see what the issue was and saw the whole slap. Then I looked at my attacker, and saw the fear in her eyes. Not shame, not shock, not feeling bad for attacking anyone. All I saw was fear of her consequences in her eyes. She then tried to run. The witness yelled out for her to stop. I then grabbed her ankle and she fell and slammed her face on the floor. I later found out she lost her 2 front teeth. And I felt really bad for hurting her, but she couldn't get away. Later, after statements and first aid treatment, mine was only a flesh wound. I got to watch my attacker get put into a police car while screaming all kinds of threats and obscenities at me. It was nice. I don't know if she got jail time though. The next story is titled Old Guy in the Store That Sells Staples Demands Mask. This just happened yesterday, and it's relatively minor compared to most in this sub, but it gave me a chuckle for several reasons. For context, I was in a major American stationery store that sells staples yesterday afternoon, clearly using a fax copy machine. My wallet is one hand, my papers are in the other, and I'm wearing an obvious cannabis brand shirt in the wrong color, and pot leaves over it. The copy area is behind a half wall to the right of the doors when you come in. So I'm doing my thing, in the zone, clearly not paying attention around me when I hear someone clearing their throat loudly several times. I ignore it, and I hear an excuse me and ignore that as I don't work there. The old guy, or OG, steps into my field of vision on the other side of the wall, makes eye contact, and says even more loudly, "Excuse me, clearly confused, are you talking to me? OG. Yeah, finally. Do you have an extra mask? Me. No sir, I don't work here, and I pointed to my weed shirt. OG. I need a mask. Do you have an extra? Now, I'm wearing a cloth mask with a kitty face on it. Not a disposable one, and as I wasn't an employee, I'm not sure why he thought I would have any extra to give him one. Me. No sir, and even if I did, I'm a customer, not an employee. OG. So you don't have an extra mask? Me. No, sir. I don't work here. OG gets all huffy, throws up his hands, and pushes his carry out of the store that sells staples. Now, this guy clearly had some money. Really decent clothes, well-groomed, etc. We all forget our masks, but just expecting a random store clerk to have one for you, let alone a stranger in a store to provide one for you? That's entitled. Like they were selling then, he could have asked someone to buy it for him. I would have if he had given me money to do so. But to just demand it? Those were my thoughts as I saw him shuffle out the store, but here's the kicker, he comes back in, less than 2 minutes later with a disposable mask. He had some with him in his car, and didn't want to go back to get it, so he just demanded one from me. What is up with people? Yes, I always carry extra masks because I'm high risk and take responsibility for myself. Please take responsibility for yourself and get your own damn mask from your car. The next story is entitled Idiot Picked the Wrong Day to Road Rage with Me. So 2 days ago, I had just finished up an 11-hour shift at work. I'm a nanny. I was already exhausted and stressed, because I left that 11-hour shift to drive 1.5 hours back to my hometown to help my mother, who was in the hospital after just having her hip replaced, and her partner, who has stage 3 colon cancer. I make it a point in my life to stay positive, so when I'm really suffering, I'll feel okay sharing those times with the people around me. So I'm in a pretty good mood. Tired and nervous, but happy. Enter entitled Idiot. I'm driving down the interstate when I get in the left lane behind 2 other SUVs to pass a tractor trailer. No biggie, right? Wrong. Another SUV pulls into the left lane behind me, and after about 15 seconds, I notice that the driver is really riding my ass. I barely tap my brakes twice, enough to turn on the brake lights, but not to actually decelerate. The driver throws up their hands and starts yelling. I can see through my review mirror. This SUV is so close to me that I am able to see their mouth moving, cursing me out. At this point, there are still 2 cars in front of me, parallel to a semi, blocking my ability to move back into the right lane. Assuming she somehow doesn't see the car in front of me, I point at it through my front window, then put my hand up in a back-off motion toward the back window. This is when I lost my crap. Entitled Idiot shakes her head no, starts laughing, and gets even closer to my car. So you know what I do? One of the 2 SUVs has passed the semi, the one slowing down our ability to pass in the left lane, and moves back into the right lane. The second SUV picks up speed and goes past the semi. But me? Oh no. All of the sudden I feel very calm. So calm, in fact, that I decide I'd love to take in some of the beautiful scenery around me. Well, on my left I mean, seeing as a giant semi is on my right. So I slow down, to the exact speed of the semi, and stay there for a good 2 to 3 minutes. Don't worry, I made sure no one else was behind entitled Idiot and trying to pass. Luckily for me, there was no one else around, so I took my sweet ass time getting around that semi. I have never been prouder in my life to make someone angry. Best part, when I finally let entitled Idiot pass, she clapped at me. She never realized, or cared, that she was tailgating me in a 65 miles per hour zone. The next story is titled I Was the Idiot. Background. I have a disability that will sometimes make it painful to walk, require the use of a cane or walker. Also my favorite is I can just randomly fall down. It isn't the type of falling where it looks like you tripped but just a straight down crumple. It can be very embarrassing, and today was one of those days. I was doing some shopping at Walmart, pushing my cart, and boom. Leg gave out and I'm on the ground. Lots of people run over to see if I'm okay. Thank you, nice people. I go through my always hurried explanation of I'm okay. No, I don't need medical help. This just happens due to a disability. Like always, people are trying to help, but then like a parting of the Red Sea, an employee in a blue polo and khakis walks through the small crowd. He lets me get up on my own because I said I could and guides me to the bench by the pharmacy. I explain again and he offers to help me shop. I say thanks, but I'm done because I don't even have my walker or cane in the car, plus I have to push my cart. He offers a mobility scooter, but I just want to leave because I'm embarrassed. He gets really excited and tells me to wait and walks away. He brought back a cane and says sorry, but the walkers are all boxed up and he will push my cart. He just has this look of pure joy. I'm thinking this guy just doesn't want to do whatever task he has been assigned, so I say sure. I've been there before. We walk and I claim I only need a couple items. I need it a lot, but again I'm embarrassed and just want to go home and cry. We talk while he helps me get things, loads it on the belt, puts it in my car. I try to tip him and ask the best way to let his boss know how great he was. Then I don't work here. I nearly died. I start apologizing faster than anyone ever has. I started to explain because of his clothing. Wait, that's right. Walmart employees don't have to wear blue shirts now. They wear a vest. He tried so hard not to laugh but failed. I asked him why he helped me if he didn't work there. He said because his mother taught him to help people. It was too much. I started crying in the parking lot. After I pulled myself together, we chatted briefly. We exchanged numbers and are going to grab coffee with his GF later this week. I moved last year and have had trouble making new friends because of the pandemic, so now I might have 2 new ones. Best fall I've ever had. Most embarrassing too. The next story is titled I'm Not the Coke Guy. So this just happened at the Mall Wart nearest my office. I dropped in to grab a couple 2L diet sodas, being the value-conscious person I am. There were only 2 of the store brand left on the shelves, and they were at the back of 5 other drinks in one of the slidey rows they put them on. I started moving the ones in front to get to them, but they're not sliding down so I can reach them. I set my other stuff down and grab a 1L drink somebody had misplaced and use it to nudge the 2 I wanted to within reach. Some other customers came on that aisle. One lady in a motorized buggy provided by Mall Wart. A guy going the opposite direction looked at me as I was getting a drink down. I had to stand on the bottom shelf to get at them. The lady in the buggy said, "Don't mind him, he's the Coke guy." I turned my head and replied that I wasn't the Coke guy, that I was just getting couple of drinks that were slightly out of reach. She apologized, I chuckled and paid for my items and left. That's the first time in Mall Wart I'd been mistaken for a worker. The next story is titled But I Actually Do Work Here. In the long, long ago days of the start of the pandemic, when store hours were shortened and had limited customer capacity, I very briefly worked in an understaffed grocery store. They did not have any uniforms in my size, and their uniform distributor was closed down, so I wore a collared shirt of my own in the same color and style as their uniform. The managers were just thankful for that much. We had a senior shopping hour 1 day a week when the store would only be open for a very limited number of seniors and immune-compromised customers. There was regularly a line at the door at opening. Several times I was scheduled to start just before opening, so I would be attempting to make my way into the front of the store, past the line of impatient senior citizens, and calling my manager to be let in. I am a very tiny woman in my 20s and am often mistaken for a teenager. And, as stated before, I don't have an actual uniform. I wish I could adequately describe the type of horrendous screeching insults hurled by half of the line when these people absolutely could not or would not comprehend my explanations that I do work here. I was physically attacked by one woman who grabbed me by my hair to yank me away from the door. I cannot count the number of curses and insults I had thrown at me. One spotted my manager coming to let me in and insisted, "This entitled little idiot be banned from the store for trying to skip the line when she shouldn't even be here and lying that she works here." But on a happier note, I had a customer start to ask me a question, pause and go, "Oh. Sorry. I thought you worked here," when he realized I wasn't wearing a company shirt. I was torn between appreciating that the one time someone looks at the shirt they were still wrong by accident and laughing because I was literally scraping gum off the floor by hand. Why would someone not an employee be doing that? The next story is titled Best Longs Employee Ever. This is a good story. I used to live in a fancy part of California where a lot of celebrities live. It was just a normal, beautiful Halloween day that I was at Long's drugstore. A very tall man suddenly asked me in an effusive British accent, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you please tell me where the glittery nail polish is? My daughter needs it for her costume." I was a little stunned because I was looking at John Cleese from Monty Python, A Fish Called Wanda, and a million other things. I've loved John Cleese ever since I saw Monty Python on TV when I was 10 years old. I said, "Of course," and showed him. He thanked me politely and he went to go pay. Fast forward about 2 months later, I'm at Long's again, and here comes John Cleese heading straight towards me. He recognized me, I assume, as the nice employee who helped him the last time. I can't remember what he was looking for this time, but I led him to the aisle it was on and he, again, thanked me for doing such a good job. I like to imagine that he looked around for me the next time, maybe even asked if the nice blonde girl was working that day. Maybe even rising my status to Employee of the Year. Of course, the plaque would have to be a photo of a question mark because I never once worked at Long's Drugs. The next story is titled Karen versus the Old Lady Who Is My Hero. So for context, I live in a city that was ranked one of the top places in the US to retire. So an older person asking small favors from strangers is super common. This happened yesterday. I was shopping at Walmart and a tiny little old lady, who I am guessing was in her 90s, asked me, "Excuse me, can you please grab that bag of flour for me?" I said sure, grabbed and put in the kid seat of her cart so the cashier can scan it without having to lift it. She thanked me and we chatted for maybe 30 seconds. Then behind me I hear a different woman's voice, who sounded annoyed. "Okay, you have spent enough time on her, where is the coffee creamer?" I turned and said, "What?" As soon as I saw her face, it dawned on me that I am going to have a Karen moment. Also super common in my area. The Karen says, "It's your job to help all the customers, not just her." The old lady says, "He doesn't work here, he is just helping an old lady because his parents raised him right." There was a noticeable pause. Then the old lady just turned and walked away. In my head she was strutting off with a half-finished cigarette in mouth and pixelated sunglasses. Walking into the sunset while the Mandalorian end credits music plays. Not sure if this is a you had to be there moment, but I have been laughing ever since. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.